You're scrolling through your social feed and see a video of yourself saying something you never said. Your bank denies your loan based on an AI decision you can't appeal. Your job application gets rejected by an algorithm with built-in discrimination. These scenarios aren't science fiction, they're happening now. And a new congressional amendment wants to block states from protecting you for the next decade. So what's actually going on here? A huge group, 39 state attorneys general, just sent a serious letter to Congress about AI regulation. This isn't just some random complaint. These are the top legal officers from almost 80% of states coming together across party lines because they're worried about something big. They're fighting against a proposal that would completely stop states from making their own AI laws for the next 10 years. Think about that timeline for a second. 10 years ago, Siri was still pretty new and most AI tools we use today didn't even exist. A decade is basically forever in technology years. This whole thing started with something tucked away in a budget bill from the House Energy and Commerce Committee. It wasn't announced with big press conferences, it was just slipped into a larger document. The amendment is pretty straightforward, but has huge implications. It says states can't enforce any laws about AI systems or automated decision-making for a full decade. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Rowell is helping lead this group. And in their letter, they point out some really concerning issues. These aren't theoretical problems that might happen someday. They're things happening right now. AI creating fake child abuse material, attempts at election interference using AI, and consumers being deceived or exploited by AI systems. As the highest legal officers in our respective states, we are already aware that AI is being used for nefarious purposes, Rowell explained in the letter. The attorneys general are especially concerned because AI technology is changing so fast. New problems keep showing up that nobody predicted, and they argue states need the flexibility to respond quickly when these issues affect their residents. What makes this especially interesting is that several states have already started creating their own AI laws. Colorado passed a law requiring companies to test AI systems for bias and discrimination before using them for important decisions. New Jersey enacted rules around AI-generated deepfakes used in political campaigns. California is working on regulations about AI transparency. All of those protections would be wiped away by this congressional amendment. The states point out in their letter that their laws have been developed over the years through careful consideration and extensive stakeholder input from consumers, industry experts, and advocates. They didn't just rush these rules out, they worked on them carefully with input from many different groups. Here's what makes this whole situation even more concerning. Without state protections, there would be almost no rules at all for AI companies. That's because there's no comprehensive federal AI law yet. The only federal guidance we have comes from an executive order that President Biden signed. But those aren't actual laws with enforcement mechanisms. The attorneys general make this point clearly in their letter, saying the amendment would strip away essential state protections without replacing them with a viable federal regulatory framework. In other words, this creates a regulation-free zone for AI at exactly the moment when this technology is becoming more powerful and more widely used. This isn't just about politics or abstract legal principles. It's about who gets to set the rules for technology that's already affecting our daily lives. So when you apply for a job, a loan, or insurance, AI might be making decisions about you right now. If you're denied, who makes sure that decision was fair? Under current state laws, you might have some protection or right to appeal. Under this proposed amendment, those protections disappear. The state attorneys general argue they're actually better positioned than the federal government to respond to AI problems. They work directly with consumers in their states and see firsthand how new technologies affect people. They can spot problems quickly and respond with targeted solutions that make sense for their communities. What's especially notable about this letter is that it's bipartisan. In a time when few issues bring Republicans and Democrats together, attorneys general from both parties signed this letter. They seem to agree that regardless of political views, blocking states from protecting their residents from AI harms for 10 years is a bad idea. The letter ends with a clear call to action, urging Congress to reject the AI moratorium added to the budget reconciliation bill. The attorneys general warn that Americans will be completely exposed to its known harms and evolving real-world risks if this passes, ultimately leading to dangerous consequences for the American people. Let's talk about what this would actually mean for you if states can't regulate AI. This isn't some abstract policy debate. It directly affects the protections you have when AI systems make decisions about your life. Right now, if you apply for a job and an AI system screens you out unfairly, several states give you the right to know about it and challenge that decision. In Illinois, their AI Video Interview Act requires companies to tell you when they're using AI to analyze your job interviews. They have to explain how the AI works and get your permission first. That protection would disappear under this ban. The same thing happens with loans and financial services. If an AI system decides you're not creditworthy based on factors that have nothing to do with your ability to pay, some states let you appeal that decision. They require companies to show their work and prove they're not discriminating against certain groups of people. All of those safeguards would be gone. Texas is working on something called the TREGA law that would make AI companies be more careful with high-risk systems, the kind that make important decisions about housing, healthcare, education, and jobs. It would create basic safety standards for these systems. But if this congressional ban passes, Texas would have to stop working on these protections entirely. What's really concerning is that this proposed ban wouldn't just wipe away the protections we already have. It would block any new ones that states try to create as AI gets more powerful. Think about how much AI will change in the next 10 years. As new problems come up, states wouldn't be allowed to do anything about them. This isn't just my opinion. Over 100 organizations, including universities, consumer protection groups, and civil rights advocates are warning that this would leave people completely unprotected. They sent their own letter to Congress pointing out that without state regulations, there would be almost no rules at all for AI companies to follow. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, which focuses on digital rights, pointed out something really interesting. They showed how AI companies are already trying to weaken Colorado's landmark AI law. These companies don't want rules at all, and they're pushing for this ban as a way to avoid any meaningful regulation. One of the biggest problems with unregulated AI is the lack of transparency. Without state rules requiring companies to tell you when AI is being used to evaluate you, you might never know when algorithms are making decisions about your life. You could be denied opportunities and never understand why or have any way to challenge those decisions. Some states are working on laws that would require watermarks on AI-generated content. This would help you know when you're looking at something made by AI versus something made by a human. Other states want to ban deepfakes in elections to prevent AI from being used to spread false information about candidates. All of these protections would be blocked by this 10-year ban. The timing of this couldn't be worse. We're at the beginning of a massive explosion in AI capabilities with systems getting more powerful every month. This 10-year ban would create a regulation-free zone exactly when AI is becoming more influential and potentially more dangerous. It would be like removing all traffic laws just as cars started going 5 times faster. In their letter, the attorneys general make a really good point. They argue that states are actually better positioned than the federal government to respond quickly to new AI problems. States can experiment with different approaches and see what works best. They can act fast when new issues come up instead of waiting for Congress to agree on a solution. The attorneys general also point out that state laws have been developed over the years through careful consideration and extensive stakeholder input. These aren't rushed regulations, they're the result of careful work with input from consumers, industry experts, and advocates who understand the real-world impacts of AI. What this whole debate comes down to is whether we want any rules at all for AI during this critical time in its development. The technology is moving faster than most people realize, and it's already making important decisions in our lives. The question isn't whether AI should be regulated, it's who should get to create those regulations. If this ban passes, the answer will be nobody for the next 10 years. No state protections, no federal framework to replace them, just a wide open field for companies to deploy AI however they want with no oversight. That's why these attorneys general are fighting so hard against this amendment and why it matters to everyone who might be affected by AI decisions, which increasingly is all of us. This fight between states and Congress over AI rules is a big deal for all of us. When 39 attorneys general from both parties come together, it shows how serious this is. They're trying to protect us while AI keeps getting more powerful every day. The real question here isn't just what gets regulated, but who gets to make those decisions. States are arguing they need to respond quickly as new problems come up. They're closer to the people affected by these technologies. As AI keeps changing faster than laws can keep up, this battle is just the beginning of a much bigger conversation about who controls this technology that's rapidly reshaping our lives. That's it for today. So if you want to stay on top of the latest AI breakthroughs, subscribe now. By hitting the subscribe button, it helps us tremendously. And the bigger the channel gets, the more news we can bring to you.